What is going on, my beautiful people? My name is Grant Elman, and welcome to another episode of Authentic Life. My vision is to live in a world where all beings are free to live their highest truth, their most authentic life, and their dream. My mission is to inspire and empower as many people as possible to accomplish this through powerful art and practical, actionable information, the latter of which I will be sharing with you today. And finally, my values are radical freedom, unwavering truth, and unconditional love, for those of you who are new here. So today I want to talk about investments, but I want to talk about it in a different way than you are probably used to hearing about investments. I want to make an analogy between money and time, because I think the two are related and that they're both sort of considered to be currencies. You know, I think the word currency is derived from current, or the idea that it flows. You know, it's the flow of energy. Money is the flow of energy between one being and another being. And time also flows. It is a form of energy that flows. If it exists, which it doesn't really, neither does money. But they're both constructs. They're both constructs and ideas that flow, that we have created. And I want to draw the analogy between time and money as it relates to investments, because I think a lot of times people talk about investing money versus spending money. And I really think that the same idea also applies to time, especially your personal time. What I mean by this is that everybody knows that smart people who know how to manage their money well will invest their money. They'll do the hard thing to do. They'll do the difficult thing to do. They'll take some of their money on a periodic basis and they'll set it aside in an account where it will grow over time and they won't touch it. And what this does is it allows their wealth to grow and to accumulate. And we also know that people who aren't as good at managing their money will often just spend it and they won't invest it. They'll spend it on things, expendable expenditures. And there's a place for both, obviously. But the point that I want to make is that when possible, it's always ideal to invest money rather than to spend it. And I want to draw the same correlation to time, because we can spend our time. People always say, oh, I spent my time doing this. I spend my time doing this. But no one ever says, I invest my time. I mean, maybe they do, but I haven't heard that nearly as much as I hear people talking about spending time. And I think it's really important because you can invest time the same way you invest money, and the results are very similar. And what I mean by this is that when you spend time, it might be sort of an unconscious use. It might be like you get home from work and then you turn on the TV and you're spending your time because you're not actually putting your time into something that's going to further you as an individual, unless you're watching something informational or you're watching something inspirational or something that's going to further your development or your education or your creative abilities as a human being. But if, on the other hand, you choose to invest your time, and an investment would be something that maybe is a little bit more difficult to do. It requires more engagement. It requires you to actually do something, like maybe get up and go to the gym or get outside or practice doing something, practice an instrument or read or something like this. That's actually going to require more effort and require more engagement. It's not a passive activity. However, in the same way that when you set aside money in an investment account, and there's this phenomenon called compounding interest, where as you start to make money on that money, the amount of money grows, and then that amount of money makes more amount of money off of itself. It's compounding, it's an exponential growth. The exact same thing is true when you invest your time rather than spending it. So I like to play the bass guitar. Say, for example, that I spend an hour every day playing bass. Well, as I continue to do that, as I continue to invest that time in practicing something, doing something active rather than doing something passive, I'm going to increase the level of skill that I have with that particular instrument. And then as I increase that level of skill that I have with that particular instrument, there's going to be a compounding effect. because as I increase the skill, I'm also going to increase the ability to use that time. It's sort of the same way that money, when it's sitting in an investment account, it's going to grow and then it's going to make more money off of itself, the compounding interest. So it's sort of this idea that as you invest time into something active rather than spending time on something passive, you're going to see a more and more exponential, rapid rate of return on your investment. As you do something more and more, say maybe you have a day job that you have to do to survive from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to 6, you have 30 minutes that you can do practicing some new skill. Well, how about this? After 5 months of practicing that new skill, now that skill is allowing you to make a supplementary income to your main income. And now you can actually spend 2 hours a day practicing that skill. And then after another 2 months, you can now quit your day job and you can spend 6 hours a day practicing that skill. And you kind of get the point from here. There's a compounding effect. There's an effect where as you invest time actively into something that is going to further your development as an individual, you're going to see a more and more rapid, an exponential increase in the rate of return that you get out of that time. And it's just a thought that I had, and I thought it might be valuable to some other people out there. So just an encouragement to continue focusing on what you're passionate about. You know, it's always easier to do something passive, like, you know, consuming something rather than to do something active, like going to the gym or whatever it may be. But there's going to be an exponential rate of return. There's going to be a compounding effect when you do that. So I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, etc. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much, and peace.